you tell us how much your revenue has already declined due to coronavirus and how much further you expect it to fall?
Yeah, look, I think that coming into this situation, what we've been very keen to do is put the company in the strongest position financially. Over the last 18 months, we raised $3.2 billion through asset sales and disposals, and the steps we announced yesterday give us, if you like, a further financial buffer to withstand what's going to happen over the next year. I mean, simply put, the environment's extremely uncertain. I think it would be unwise of us to to speculate on what will happen to revenues. So far, we said in our statement, we saw revenues in China down about 17% in the first 2 months of the year, and we're seeing a gradual improvement in that rate. So, I think looking into the second quarter, it's clearly going to be uncertain. But my view is we need to have the company in the strongest position, and those companies in the strongest position will come out of the situation ready to take advantage of the opportunities that will no doubt exist then.
Now, I think it's really important to know that WPP is truly a global company. You have exposure to China, exposure to Europe, which is obviously a little bit ahead of the U.S. in terms of, especially countries like Italy, in terms of exposure to coronavirus. Can you give us a sense of how much further you expect the ad industry to fall, especially here in the U.S., and how this is impacting your plan for layoffs?
Yeah, look, I think, the number one priority for us through this crisis has been looking after our people. We have 107,000 people around the world. We have roughly 10,000 people in China. We sent those people home from work, in line with the Chinese government. Our people in Italy, about 2,500 people in Italy, have been working from home for the last 5 weeks. And just over 2 weeks ago, we took the decision to ask all of our people to work remotely or work from home all around the world. And, it has worked extremely well. I'm pleased to say that the company can operate, and we're delivering important work, to our clients at the moment. So, if you'd asked me 3 weeks ago if a whole organization could work from home, I'd have thought you were mad. Actually, the company's operating extremely well.
And what about layoffs? Are you going to be able to avoid doing layoffs across the company?
Look, I think, our focus and the financial actions we took yesterday around, stopping hiring people, looking at our freelancer spend, cancelling, our entry into award shows and any kind of form of discretionary spend should be designed to put the company in the strongest position. But as I said to you, the future is too uncertain, and, that will be the last step that we need to take.
Mark, it's John Fort. Thanks for being with us once again. Tell me, what is happening to marketing budgets right now? I mean, many businesses aren't operating. Some businesses like travel and entertainment I imagine aren't spending at all. What do you see happening? What's the impact going to be, particularly in the digital sphere?
I think what's interesting is that consumers want to hear from companies. We did some recent research in the US, and 84% of consumers said that how companies act at the current time will be extremely important to them in forming long-term brand loyalty. And actually, 62% of Americans felt that companies should continue to talk to them through this crisis. Now, what they want to hear about is what companies are doing for people and what companies are doing for their customers. So for our client, Walgreens Boots Alliance, we're really helping them communicate to their customers about how they can get access to the critical services that company provides at the moment. So I think there really is a very relevant role for marketing at this time. Now, you're right, there are some sectors of our business, travel and tourism, which is only 4% of WPP's revenue, which are impacted. But even for those companies, they will at some point need marketing services to come out of this recession.
Mark Morgan here. I mean, on the TV side, we're seeing increased ratings because more and more people are sitting at home. They don't have very much to do in terms of events or consumption of sports, for example, so they're turning on the TV. We're seeing stronger user metrics and engagement numbers from the social media companies as well, more engagement in terms of internet use in general. When we get through the worst of the situation, you do see the spigots start to turn back on in terms of those advertising dollars. Where do you think they'll go? Is this something that could actually propel the acceleration toward digital, or do you think it'll continue to play out the way it has been?
Well, clearly it's going to accelerate the shift towards digital. I mean, we're seeing 10 years innovation crammed into 4 weeks, aren't we? I mean, the way we communicate, work, travel, shop, use financial services, educate our children has all been turned on our head, and we're all moving very quickly towards digital channels. So clearly, I think the digital media owners and digital media companies will be the winners from this bet. At the same time, I do think that the traditional skills that advertising organizations like our own and others, in terms of understanding consumers, how they think, how they feel, how they want to be communicated with, are extremely important in getting the tonality of the conversation right. Because, companies that have either been seen to take advantage of the situation or not listen to their customers have been, I think, correctly criticized during this time. But clearly we will see, much greater adoption of digital channels. We're looking at the whole esports area, with a lot of sports franchises, cancelled or stopped. Lots of kids are teaching their parents, the joys of esports today. So I'm sure esports will be, a much bigger business coming out of this than it was coming into this situation.